We'll now hear testimony from the executive witness, which is the Executive Director from the Office of African Affairs, Mamadou Samba. And raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that your testimony and any statements that you make before us today to be truthful and complete?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Barnes and Councilmember Linda Nadeau and fellow council members. I am pleased to testify today on behalf of the Mayor's Office on African Affairs FY 2017 agenda and budget. Our work is fully aligned with Mayor Bowser's fair shot agenda. As you know, the Mayor has proposed a balanced budget that invests in things that matter most to district residents, including jobs, job training, education, affordable housing, public safety, and infrastructure. These priorities support people of all backgrounds, all ages, in all 8 wards of our city, including the African immigrant community. Our office is focused on making sure that the constituents we serve have full access to the services and benefit offered by the district government. We serve as a resource to the African community, and we ensure that their specific interests and concerns are reflected in the day-to-day work of the more than 70 agencies that serve district residents. Specifically, in the next year, we will continue to provide constituent services and information to the African immigrant community through our programmatic activities. We will also work to raise the visibility of the growing and diverse African community in the district. We will continue to strengthen our partnership with district government agencies and community-based organizations to ensure effective and tailored outreach programs to the public, tailored outreach programs on the public safety needs of the African community, language access, capacity building, technical assistance, and constituent services. We will also continue to administer the African Community Grant in an effective and efficient manner that meets the priority of Mayor Miro Bowser, while also addressing critical gaps in the African immigrant community. The Mayor's FY 17 budget is built for the resident of the Washington, D.C. It keeps us on a path to ending homelessness, invest in our schools and communities, provide the resources to keep our neighborhoods and streets safe, and allocate resources for vital infrastructure improvement. The Mayor's budget will help us ensure that every resident gets a fair shot and a pathway to the middle class. I am confident the Mayor's budget agenda and proposed budget will make life better for the 16,000 plus African-born residents who call Washington, D.C. home. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samba. Let's talk a little bit about language access and what that means and how you are implementing it through your office.
Sure.
Is it correct to say that language access duties are spread among your staff, in addition to the other things that you must attend to on a daily basis?
Yes, it is correct to say that. It is also correct to say that it is not just limited to our staff. It goes into other agencies like the Office of Human Rights and other agencies that we partner with. One thing that our office is one strength for our office is our ability to partner with other agencies. If you remember, when I came to testify during the performance hearing, I mentioned that in FY 16 we partner with 32 government agencies. And we do that when it comes to language access, in addition to taking turns wearing multiple hats, everybody being all hands on deck when it comes to language access and other services that we must provide.
If your office had an additional staff member, that would be to be a dedicated language access coordinator, to coordinate, I guess, the service delivery system within the 32 agencies. Would that help?
I mean, I think that's a decision that we will have to consider. We will have to go back to our partners, senior leaders, and present it, and making sure that if this is done, it is done the right way. So I will only ask that maybe I can come back to you with the right decision, and we'll go from there.
Mr. Samba, I understand all that, and you know, I'm not trying to put you on the hot seat. What I'm getting at is, are you experiencing through the communications that you get back from the 32 agencies that there is perhaps a need for additional input in this particular area of staff?
No, I mean, the agencies do communicate with us. They desire to get us to help to support them more in, meeting with the language access requirement. For example, the limited purpose licenses that was mentioned earlier. We work very closely with the Office of Human Rights and DMV to provide oversight and quality control in the exam that are available in Amharic and in French. So I mean, we're not able to help all the times because we also have other services or responsibilities that we have to do. But I mean, we do what we can given our team, and we try to maximize it by also partnering with other agencies.
Okay. Have you done a study, or do you collect data from the 32 agencies that would give you any indication of the amount of servicing that is done, or the hours or minutes of service that are done, let's say in FY 16, and maybe the first 2 quarters of FY 16? Do you have any data like that, something that could instruct us as to why there is a concern about the language barrier, particularly amongst African immigrant community?
I believe that's under the purview of the Office of the Human Rights. Specifically, the Director of the Language Access is responsible for collecting that data according to the Language Access Act.
And do you access that information? I'm really asking, are you aware that there is even documented concerns beyond, what happens to an individual, or beyond the indications that we've received in the way of testimony today?
Could you be more specific? I'm not quite sure exactly. Documented concern on what particular?
Concerns that when a African immigrant attempted to access an agency service system, that there was a barrier, that there was no one there to assist them in understanding what they needed to do, and could help them through the whole language piece, as well as the understanding, reasoning of why they were doing whatever they were doing.
Honestly, I haven't seen a documentation of a particular issue like that, but we know that, African immigrants who do not speak English very well do face barriers. And so while I have not seen a particular case in question, there are things that we do in our office to make sure that this doesn't happen. For example, we work very closely with the Metropolitan Police Department. And somebody mentioned earlier how just this year the Metropolitan Police Department established the very first African liaison unit, which is something that the community has been asking for a good 7 years. And we were able to get it done in 8 months under this Mamadou administration. And the whole purpose was to not only work with the African community to make sure language does not become barriers to public safety, but we also develop a cultural competency training for the Metropolitan Police Department, so that when they deal with the African community members, they understand how language is sometimes very complex. They understand the culture. They understand some of the barriers that could become challenges. So those are the things that we do, and it's FY 17. We will keep doing more of that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your office then. How many hours per week would you say that each staff member needs to spend on language access tasks that are Not just someone calling on the telephone
Yeah.
and trying to, as was made clear by Ms. Bello, just want translation, but how?
I mean, it would be hard to say how many hours. I mean, it's three of us in office. We rely a lot on interns and volunteers. I mean, and any given day, I'm in the office at 8. I don't leave till sometime 9 o'clock. So I mean, and we're there to do the work that is, language access, providing constituent services, doing outreach, making sure that the mayor's policy priority get to the community, working on public safety. So while we're not working on just one issue 24/7, we are doing what we can. Again, wearing multiple hats, try to walk on water sometime to get it done, and we get it done.
Okay, let me give you an example. Someone accesses your office, and there is a language barrier, and they're asking, it's like a constituent complaint.
Yes.
And so your staff would have to work through that. Does that occur?
Yes.
Frequently,
yes.
or?
Okay. So one of the things that we do in the office is on any given day, people walk in and they need anything from looking for jobs to housing, or they just moved to the city and they want to figure out how to navigate. And we have, including myself, our staff, we find ourselves sitting one-on-one with people who walk in and seek services. Just last week, I believe, somebody walked in and this is a person who works as a security guard, and he felt as though he's been discriminated. And each time we sit with a person, even when people walk in, at the Reach Center, there's a job center on the 3rd floor. And people walk in each time, and we sit with them, figure out exactly what are they looking for. Do they have a resume? We work with them to build a resume. Sometimes we actually work with them in the job center on the 3rd floor, make sure that they get seen, and make sure that whatever issue they come to help get addressed, we help them with, along with providing translation, provide interpretation, and connected them with other government agencies that are able to support.
So, are you busy every minute? You said you were working sometimes to 9 p.m. Is this nonstop? Or do you get an opportunity to have breaks, to have lunch?
Well, I mean, I find that when you're very passionate about what you do, it's not necessarily about how long you stay in the office. One of the things that I'm really proud about in our office is, I'll do this job for free, to be honest with you, because I've been there as an African immigrant.
Ms. Hines, would you close your ears?
I've been there as an African immigrant, and a lot of things that we do in the office comes right out of our own experiences as an immigrant. Nobody is more sensitive about language access than I am. I remember coming to the U.S. not speaking a lick of English and having to sit in class and not knowing nothing that was said. So I mean, when I'm now in a position where I'm able to help my community, I will be a failure if I did not do so in the most genuine way. And so while I'm not able to personally do everything I want to do, what I do have is I have other government agencies that partner with us, like the Office of the Chief Technology Officer that partners with our community to provide us the opportunity to launch the very first African Diaspora Coding Academy, not only in the DC but in the nation, training over 120 Africans on how to develop mobile applications. I mean, this is like some really exciting stuff. So these are the things that drive us, and we hope to be able to do that for many years to come.
I want to ask you about your grant-making authority, and ask you to describe the process. How do you identify the needs in the community? How do you publish grant opportunities if you publish them? And how do you prioritize those that you select for funding?
So the way it works is our process is very similar to other community affairs offices like Asian community and Latino community. And so we start by identifying the funding priorities in which areas we will fund, and those have to be in line with the mayor's priorities. And so not only they have to be in line with the mayor's priority, but they also have to address gaps in the African community. And this is no different from some of the other communities: housing, jobs, education, public safety, multicultural awareness. And so we have 6 areas in which we provide services, and so including health as well. And so once this is identified, our process is similar. We recruit reviewers who are independent outside of the agency, and depending on how many proposals we received this past fiscal year, well, for FY16 we received 21 proposals, applications.
How many?
21 applications, and each application is read 4 times by independent reviewers who do not know each other, who do not see the same application, and the scores are provided and they're ranked. And then when we get it internally, we look at what the independent reviewers have indicated, have said, how they scored it, and we look at it in the office, and we score it. I score it within the office, and depending on if a proposal meets the mayor's priorities, does it address a gap in the African community? We also look at the strength of the proposal in terms of, do they partner with other agencies? Do they have the capacity? We make the decision based on that.
I'm trying to understand the EKO Coding Academy.
ECHO, yes.
Yes, okay, ECHO, okay. Yes. I can say the word, okay.
Yes, ECHO.
All right, ECHO then. Can you give us some update on the progress that the Academy is making, as far as, I think you mentioned maybe 100 students, or?
In total, the program will enroll 120.
120.
We've done in total it's supposed to be 4 sessions. Each session is supposed to last 5 weeks, and we hope that we'll have 120. And so, so far, we've done 2 sessions, and we have 70 people have gone through the program and have graduated the program.
70?
70, yes.
All right.
We finished the last session 2 weeks ago, and we were, the event was attended by the new CTO, Archana Vemula Pali was there, and it's a partnership between the Office of the Chief Technology Officer, which has multiple programs to bridge the technology divide in underserved communities. So it is not something new, it is just something that existed in one agency and we brought to our community, which is what our office is supposed, is one of the mission, which is part of our agency's mission, to make sure that the community gets the resources. And we partner with OCTO, DCHR, which gives us access to the computers and classrooms, and Coders for Africa, which is an organization that provides similar training all over the continent. And so it is mainly geared towards making sure that the African community gets the opportunity to develop new skills. And so it is very exciting, very lots of interesting things that you see in this classroom. And so, since you mentioned earlier that you will sign up, I look forward to having you in the next session.
All right. Well, I thank you.
Thank you.
Anything? All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I see my colleague is not here, so thank you for your testimony.
Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You too.